start spreading the news.
Nice, a little Frank Sinatra to bring us back here on this Friday. 11:36 is the time. In the studio, Zach Gelb here with you, flying solo. Temple's getting ready to face Miami in the semifinals of the NIT. That's going to be at Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, and we're all excited for that. Pre-game coverage on Tuesday on this station begins at 6:30 with tip at 7. But now we're going to welcome in the head man of the Miami Hurricanes in his 4th year at Miami, and that is Jim Larranaga. Coach, it's Zach here in Philly. Thanks for a few minutes. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zach.
Well, thanks for coming on. And just like yourself, I'm a New York native. I know the fans in Philadelphia may not like that, but you're from the Bronx. I'm from Long Island. What does it mean to come on home and play at MSG?
Yeah, it's really the first time in my 30 years of head coaching that I'll be taking a team to Madison Square Garden. And I'm very excited about it. My players are very excited about it. We know we're playing a very fine Temple team with a great coach in Fran Dunphy. We're contemporaries. I don't know how many of us are there. There seems to be a lot of guys hanging on in coaching. But Fran was just 1 year ahead of me at school when he was at LaSalle. And, of course, I was at Bowling Green and George Mason when he was coaching at Penn, and then he moved over to Temple. He's done a great job wherever he's been.
No doubt about that. Both very special head coaches, and you guys always have your team playing in the month of March, whether it's in the NIT or the NCAA tournament. And we all know the legendary run that you went on with George Mason, and then you've done on some tournament runs with Miami in your 4 years there. But I want to take you back to your college playing days, because your last game as a collegiate player with Providence was 1971 at MSG. What do you remember about that?
I remember we lost to Carolina, and I was very upset at the end of that game. But one of the things about the NIT back then, it had great teams. There were only 24 teams in the NCAA tournament, 16 teams in the NIT, and all 16 teams went to New York and played at Madison Square Garden. We beat Louisville in the first round. And that Louisville team the next year went on and played in the Final Four with basically the same team intact. I also remember that year that we lost to Villanova in Philadelphia by a point, and Villanova went on and played UCLA in the national championship game. So we felt like if we could have beaten Villanova, that could have been us playing UCLA. So I have a lot of memories of playing in Philadelphia against the Philadelphia squad, and a lot of memories of going to Madison Square Garden and playing against great teams there as well.
And I don't know about if you know this, but staying with the Providence connection, John Linehan is an assistant graduate on Fran Dunphy's staff. He went to Providence, and he has 385 steals, the most in Division I history, Coach.
Yeah, I remember John. He was quick as a cat, a great little point guard. And I didn't realize he was on Fran's staff, so I look forward to seeing him. It'll be two Friars banging heads like there was in 2006 when my George Mason team faced Billy Donovan's Florida Gators.
How about that, as we're talking to Jim Larranaga, the head coach of Miami, who joins us right now, WHIP Radio in Philadelphia. Like you were saying, the NIT wasn't what it was like when you were playing or when John Baum was playing, winning the championship for Temple back in 1969. Now it's devalued a bit because of all the stock that we put in the NCAA tournament with bracketology and all that other great stuff. As a coach, because your kids obviously wanted to get to the NCAA tournament, how did you motivate them for the NIT?
You know what? We felt like we cost ourselves the bid to the NCAA by losing a couple of games back in December. And we needed to win a couple of more games. We had an opportunity to beat Louisville and beat Notre Dame. You see what Notre Dame is doing? They're in the Elite Eight. We lost to Louisville at Louisville, and we had a golden opportunity to win that game. They're still alive in the Sweet 16. So we felt like we blew our opportunity. If we had been invited, we felt like we were a worthy team and that we could have done some real damage in the NCAA. But we wanted to kind of prove ourselves in this tournament. So we've played 3 very, very good games, and we're looking forward to playing another great game on Tuesday night against Temple.
I want to ask you this, because that's the similar feel here at Temple University. A lot of Temple fans thought they should have been in the NCAA tournament and could have done some damage if they got into that field. But they didn't get there, and they probably could have won one more game up against SMU. But this was a Temple team that did beat Kansas that had an RPI of 2. And the big debate here at Temple University is, would you rather win the NIT and be a champion or lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament? Coach, if you had that option, which one would you take?
I don't like dealing in hypothetical situations like that, because that's not the focus of a coach and his team. If we got into the NCAA, we wouldn't be thinking about losing in the first round. We'd be thinking about winning that tournament, getting to the Final Four, winning the national championship. Right now, that's our mindset going to New York. We got invited to a tournament. We want to win that tournament.
Fair enough. And last time we actually talked to you and had you on the show, you were actually in a gym watching Jaquan Newton, and Jaquan Newton is obviously on your team now in his freshman year, and he had 11 points off the bench in his last game, being a Philly native that Jaquan Newton is. How bright of a future does he have, Coach?
No, Jaquan Newton has been absolutely terrific. The first and most important thing to us is attitude, and Jaquan Newton has had a superior attitude. He's a first-class individual, works very, very hard every day in practice. In our program, we really pride ourselves in helping our players improve, and Jaquan is getting better and better. The other night, we're playing without Angel Rodriguez, who is our second leading scorer, leader in assists and steals, an outstanding college player, really an all-conference caliber player, who got injured. He sprained a wrist and hasn't been able to practice, hasn't played much. We don't really expect him to play on Tuesday night. So Jaquan Newton's role has expanded. He played 26 minutes the other night against Richmond. We could not have won that game and advanced without him.
How are the spirits of Angel Rodriguez? Because I know that's tough to get injured early on in the NIT and have to sit out and watch this stuff going on.
He's been absolutely fantastic, cheering for his teammates, showing great leadership from the sideline, talking to Jaquan Newton, talking to Manu LeConte, who are the point guards who are running the team right now. And Angel is just a high-energy young man. He loves playing. He loves competing. It's eating him up not to be out on the court, but he's helping us in other ways.
Is that his shooting wrist?
Yeah, it's his right hand. He can't dribble. He can't pass. He can't shoot. That means he can't play, so it's hard.
Jim Larranaga is our guest right now, fourth year at Miami, was also the coach for George Mason when they got to the Final Four in that legendary run that I love to watch almost every year during the tournament time, as he joins us right now on WHIP Radio in Philadelphia. You guys got off to a slow start against Richmond. At the half, you guys were down 30-18. Temple's been a team that their offense during the regular season was a bit stagnant, but they're starting to get in a rhythm, led by Will Cummings, Jesse Morgan, and Quinton DeCozy. How do you guys get off to a better start up against Temple on Tuesday night?
Yeah, that obviously is a major concern of ours. You know, the way Temple's guards play, they remind us a little bit of NC State, who's going to be playing in the Sweet 16 tonight. Those three guards are very, very good individually and collectively at both ends of the court. We're going to need to do a better job ourselves. What surprised me a little bit is the impact the 30-second clock has had on games, where a lot of times the possession is winding down. I know for our team, we need to do a better job of attacking in the early part of the shot clock, and we're going to need to defend better, because against Richmond, they were able to run their stuff, and in the last 5 seconds of the shot clock, get a great look, and we can't afford that against a great Temple team.
Fred says that he likes the 30-second shot clock. Would you be a fan of it if they happen to expand that in further years?
Yeah, I think this experiment is paying off. Because I think the coaches who are playing with it realize, you know, it does have an impact on the game, but it's just going to make the game faster and more entertaining. Going to be more possessions. It may not be 10 more possessions, but it might be 5, and that means a little bit more opportunity to score. One of the things you know when you're playing against Temple, they don't turn the ball over. So they actually get more shots than their opponent almost every night. And I think the 30-second clock will do that for all teams next season if it's adopted.
And those lack of turnovers, a big reason because of it is because Will Cummings just protects the basketball, and he'll take it from the half court all the way to the bucket. Will probably get the bucket and then get to the foul line as well, as he's one of those senior players that has a tough mentality, and he wants to do whatever it will take to win the NIT. How do you guys contain Will Cummings? Because that's a tough task at hand.
Yeah, Will is terrific, but so are the other guards. What makes them so good is they've got great balance. It's not just one guy who can hurt you. We really like their balance and the way they play, both offensively and defensively. And their percentages. I told our coaches, it's funny. You might look at a team that goes 5 for 10 and say, "Wow, they're really efficient offensively." But if they go 5 for 10 to the field and have 5 turnovers, they're really 5 for 15. And in Temple's case, they don't turn the ball over, so they get 15 shots. They might be only 6 for 15, but that's actually more productive than the team that went 5 for 10 with 5 turnovers, if you know what I mean. Their points per possession are really terrific, and their defense is just outstanding.
Wrapping up with the head coach of Miami, that's Jim Larranaga. Their defense, a big reason for the turnaround from last year to this year, has been a large portion because of the depth, but also the play of the big man in Jalen Bond. But I was watching your basketball team the other night up against Richmond, and I was very impressed with the way you guys rebounded the basketball. Do you think you have the advantage down low in the big man matchup?
Well, I think in every game it's different. You might look on paper and say, "Oh, you're going to out-rebound this team to kill them." When we played Notre Dame, we thought we had the advantage rebounding, and those guys did a terrific job of protecting their defensive backboard. So we'll have to see once the game gets started, but that's certainly going to be a point of emphasis. The team that wins the rebounding battle, I think, has a great chance of winning the ball game.
Before we let you run, Coach, you know what it's like to win in March and have a team go on a special run. No team is on a more special run in the nation right now than Kentucky, as they're looking for perfection. You play in a very good conference in the ACC. Louisville, Notre Dame, Duke still alive in the tournament. What team do you think has the best chance to take down Kentucky, or do you think Kentucky is going to cut down the nets?
Well, I think Kentucky is going to be the favorite in any game they play because of their level of talent. But I will tell you this, every game is different. If you look at their matchup with Notre Dame, Kentucky can dominate the inside, but Notre Dame could possibly dominate three-point shooting because they are outstanding three-point shooters. And they can put 5 guys out on the court that shoot the three. They are a very efficient offensive team. I expect that, unlike last night's game against West Virginia, where West Virginia was, really basically trying to outmuscle Kentucky, and that was an impossible task. I think what Notre Dame will do is try very, very hard to be the better skilled team, to make more shots from 3, and maybe even from 2, with their ability to drive the ball to the basket versus unconventional matchups. The one thing about Kentucky is they're so big, they may have a hard time guarding those guards, because basically Notre Dame plays 4 guards on the perimeter.
Last time we had you on, we were talking about one of my favorite restaurants in Joe's Stone Crab down on South Beach, and you're a New Yorker, I'm a New Yorker, so I'm just wondering, what is your favorite place to eat in New York? Mine is Peter Luger.
Mine is on a street corner having a Sabrett Frank getting a hot dog off the street vendor. Call them dirty water hot dogs. They're the best.
That's what I like about you, Coach, because you make a lot of money, you're very successful, but you're a man of the people. You go on out there and you get the dirty water dog in New York City, and then you go play some tough basketball. That's what I love about you, Coach.
Yeah, well, if I was in Philadelphia, I'd be getting a Philly cheesesteak.
That's right, no doubt about that. Be hitting up Mama's, Pat's, Gino's, D'Alessandro's, all those great places here in Philadelphia. Well, Coach, we love to have you on each and every time of the year. Whenever you come on, it's usually around March. Best of luck on Tuesday, but be kind to our Temple Owls, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. There's Coach Jim Larranaga joining us on the hotline, WHIP Radio in Philadelphia. Always love talking with Coach Larranaga. He's just such a special man, really good coach. And that was, for me, one of the first NCAA tournaments that I've ever watched, was when his George Mason team went to the Final Four. And he's been a pain in the butt for fans of Philadelphia. He took Villanova out of the first round in an 8-9 game a few years ago. Another early exit for Jay Wright. And now it's him and his Miami Hurricane program, the U. It's all about the U. No, we're not singing that this week. It's the U and the Temple Owls. Fight, fight, fight for the cherry and the white.